feel like it's poetic justice for the fact that I only was able to watch the first period of this game in depth, really, having it all my attention and whatnot, because of the fact that I actually had to write an exam tonight in my math class. So, shout out to my math exam and my teacher for scheduling it when she did, because apparently if I don't watch the Jets play anymore, they show up and have one of the best offensive performances they've had probably all season long. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I've watched the highlights, I've watched the plays, I've watched the extended highlights as well, and holy shit, that second and third period, wow, like I don't even know what to say. That doesn't even look like the Jets. I was actually feeling like I was watching highlights from 2017-18. Like, I'm being dead honest when I say that. Like, this team looked great in that second half, and I don't know really what happened and what awoke within them. I'm sure as happy as hell it did, but it's still shocking because even that first period, we had the one goal by Connor, which I thought was a good goal and all that jazz. Wheeler getting on the assist, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter because the point being is that, like I always say, if there's scoring and, positives still, that's great, but do the negatives outweigh it? And in the first period, I didn't think the negatives outweighed anything. I just thought they were kind of on par with how good everything was. It was kind of a meh first period for me. I didn't really see anything that stood out, just good offensive chances at times, but other than that, the defense wasn't great. I don't know, it just didn't look like the best first period, in my opinion, and that's basically where my analysts stopped, because I thought it was going to be a boring, slow game with good chances, but just not a lot of scoring, like we've seen from the Jets for almost, a few months now, and I was very, very wrong by the sounds of how this game went on, because Blake Wheeler on that second goal in the second period, what an absolute unit, and that is the exact type of thing I've been preaching from Blake Wheeler, preaching from the top six, preaching for basically every single Jet forward to do more, and that is drive the net. Wheeler saw he had a clear path to the lane, he went in hard, he had a great move in the crease, and he put it behind, he didn't put it behind Thatcher Demko, because Thatcher Demko wasn't playing, he put it behind goaltender Braden Holtby, and Jesus, that was a great move. I was so impressed by that play, because I've been preaching for that all year round, and I'm like, well, you've had lanes before, why haven't you done it now? Doesn't matter though, because thank God he finally put it in now. He actually realized that, my strength is driving and being a power forward, and I'm going to still try to play like that, and it worked for him. So I'm super happy for Blake Wheeler, because Blake Wheeler's had himself a night tonight. Not to mention the fact that it wasn't even really Blake Wheeler's night when you look at what it was supposed to be for. Paul Stastny playing his 1,000th career NHL game, getting the silver stick on a wonderful ceremony, his family being there. I thought the Jets did a fantastic job. Also, I have so much respect for the Jets organization for making the little mini silver sticks for the kids. I thought that was really, really awesome. I know for a fact that if my dad was an NHL player, that is something that I would cherish forever, to have something like that given to me, even as an infant. That is not an infant, but as a young toddler, I would say that is awesome. They're going to remember that forever, even though they're young. It's a great thing, and I just thought they did a really good job. So classy to the Jets organization as usual. If there's one thing the Jets organization and True North does well, it's tributes and ceremonies and whatnot. You go back to when the Crappie tribute after he passed away. You go back to any of the tributes they've had after the Humboldt Broncos bus crash. That was a very touching tribute they did with the Chicago Blackhawks. When you go back and look at even what had the terrorist attack that happened on Ottawa, how loud the anthem was, the Jets and their fans in the past, and even just as an organization, do a very classy job at handling situations and ceremonies, and I'm very happy by the way he handled this. And for Paul Stastny, congratulations, you had a great game yourself, even though you didn't pop up on the scoreboard, because you had your night well. I thought Paul Stastny had so many opportunities, and he just looked really great. I love that he's back on this team. I've said that 1,000 times, and congratulations, Paul Stastny, for playing in your 1,000th game. Very well deserved, and hopefully you can play in a few more for us. I would very likely hope to see you stay after this season. So getting back to this game, talking about how good of a night Blake Wheeler had. Blake Wheeler had 4-point night tonight. 2 goals, 2 assists. He was involved on almost all the Jet scoring plays, and that is insane when you think about it. So, awesome game for the captain. Really, really important game, I feel like, because if there's one thing this team does, it needs a leader, and Blake Wheeler's a great leader, but he hasn't been able to show it as well at times on the ice. Even though he's had a good point streak lately, he hasn't been consistent in his defense and all these problems he's had in this game. So for him to come out tonight and be the Blake Wheeler of old, lead his team on a special night for his friend and secure the win, I want to see them use this momentum and carry it. The Jets need to win their last few games of the season. They're a must. They have to come out and win them at this point if they want any confidence, because although I'm very ecstatic with this win, it still doesn't change the fact that in the last 10 games we are 8-2 now, I believe. That is our last 10 games, or no, I don't even know what our last 10 games are, if I'm not mistaken. So either way, point being is that we still need to win, right? Like, we need to win and get some win streaks under our belt and snap that losing streak and just snap the poor play, because even though we had that win against Calgary, in my opinion, it's felt like the losing streak has went on ever since that game, because they just hadn't looked good. So hopefully this can carry over, because like I said in that Calgary game, if you need to win and be successful after a win like this, you got to carry it over, and they didn't carry it over from the Calgary game going into the other game after that, so hopefully they can carry it going into our next matchup when that's all you can hope for at this point. If they are not able to do that, then we're basically screwed, because the Jets, they have to show up for these last few games. Our last game of the season, ironically, is against the Maple Leafs on Friday. So if that's your last game of the season, here I am thinking there's one more in my head, all being dumb, looking at the schedule right now. So with one game left, you're going to have to show up against the top team. I don't care if you don't win, but you got to show up and score goals and put up a fight. You can't roll over and die like we've done in the past. And if they do that, I will have a lot of confidence. And I'm being serious. Even though I've been a very heavy critic of this team, if we can maintain this type of performance against a top team in the North, a team we've struggled against immensely the last few times we played them, I think that could be a very big confidence boost going into a series. We most likely going to be playing the Oilers, if I'm not mistaken. All that being said, now we're going to have to really show up and play hard, because this is a very important series, and now we're not expected to win. I don't expect us to pull forward, even as a Jets fan. I think we are, very outmatched by the Oilers this season at times, and they've shown it, so I'm nervous. I'm skeptical. You can definitely say that, and this win hasn't convinced me anything. I need to see them carry it over against a tougher opponent against the Leafs on Friday, because let's be real, even against that win against Calgary, although it was great performance like this one, this is against the Vancouver Canucks and the Calgary Flames, where you actually show up and win a good game and play a complete game, in my opinion. So if you're going to do that, you have to do it against the top opponents and not go back to losing. And think about this. Don't forget the fact that the Jets were pretty badly pretty killed. I'm going to be blatantly obvious. They were killed yesterday with how they played. They had no heart, no soul, and I thought that was the way they played for a while. But last night they lost, and in a back-to-back they came out and played hard, so you know that they have to have the ability to play like this, and hopefully they can pick it up and play, because that's all I care about at this point. I don't have any other analysis to give other than that. I thought there was really good play at times for the forwards and the defense as well. I didn't mind these pairings, and surprisingly enough, Jordy Ben had probably his best game as a Jet so far, so maybe he stays in, maybe you keep Pullman out, maybe you with Pionk back in, maybe you have to put Ville in, or it's take out forward, even though that won't most likely happen, but if Ben's going to stay in, maybe he looks like a better option at this point over Forbert. Maybe that's who you have to take out of the lineup if you're going to keep a veteran in. There has to be some type of decisions to be made. And although Forbert himself didn't have a horrible game either, even though at times he looked bad defensively, he was able to jump up and get an assist on that Mason Appleton goal, the last goal of the game. So if he can, if Ben and Forbert are going to be battling for these spots, I want Ben to show it in tomorrow's game, or whoever plays. I want it to be known that Forbert still isn't good. That's my one big concern I still have with this defense, is that if you're willing to shuffle around Ville, Tucker, all these other guys, you got to be able to shuffle out Forbert. There's no reason why you have to keep playing him. So if he's sucking and you need to drop him down to a lesser position, or not play him at all, for that matter, I think you need to address that. So hopefully going into this next game against the Leafs, the last game, we'll finally have an idea of what maybe these defensive pairings will look like. Hopefully Ville jumps back in, but now after they won with this defensive core, who knows if Paul changes it. I don't really know what's going to happen. Knowing Paul Maurice, he could very well just send out the exact same roster we saw today for against the Leafs, and see what happens and see what sticks against a better opponent. Knowing him, that's a way he would think, and it's not a bad way of thinking for the last game of the season. It doesn't matter at this point, so it's going to be an interesting matchup, to say the least. I'm not exactly confident in this team still, but I was happy with this performance. I got nothing to complain about, really, and it was great, and it just sucks that I couldn't watch it, and it just makes me feel like a jinx. If you're getting a vibe of a little bit of saltiness, it's mostly because of that, because I would have loved to be able to enjoy a performance like this, but of course I have to start doing my school and stuff when all this stuff is going on, so it sucks for that. But that being all said, I like this game, and I want to see them carry this over. The top six needs to play better, and they did tonight, so hopefully they can carry that over. And not to mention, I like the bottom as well. I thought they played good, and oddly weird enough, I thought that the new guy to come in on that fourth line, Donato, if that's how you say his name, I'm sorry, I'm not even very familiar with him. I know he was on the taxi squad, but he played 15 minutes tonight. He had 6 hits, which is actually the team lead tonight in hits, but not believe it or not. So maybe he earns the way to stay in. Oh no, I read that wrong. Excuse me. That was Lowry. Had 6 hits. Excuse me. Donato had 2, which was still pretty high for the defense. He was able to get a shot on goal as well. So, and he only played 11 minutes. I read the wrong stats there. Typical of me. Okay. But anyways, getting back to what I was saying. So maybe he stays in. Maybe he's a little bit of a spark. The team needed an AHL guy to come up and play with some stepping, jump in a step and whatnot. So hopefully they'll be able to carry all this over. Because other than that, I don't really have anything else to say. I'm going to wrap this video up here because I didn't really see much. And I don't get to go in depth tonight about all the plays I didn't like. I just want to see them carry this energy, carry this play style, and play against a tougher opponent and see what happens. That's all I can be hopeful at this point. I'm not still sold on them after one win, but I'm very excited to see if they're going to be able to carry this over, and very interested to see what will happen against the Leafs going into their matchup on Friday. So with all that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, but make sure to subscribe even if you don't root for the Jets. We like you to support all different teams on here. I hate no team in this league, so if you're a fan of any team, regardless of who you root for, definitely consider dropping a subscription and helping us get to that 1 subscriber milestone, which we are very, very very close to being able to do it yet. Thank you to everyone for watching as usual. Make sure to follow my socials down in the description below as well. And I will see you guys in the next video soon. Peace, love, and positivity as always. Go Jets, go. Bye-bye.